how is, for the listeners, and we never had that topic here, how is the commercial market here in Dubai, and how an investor, or how you advise an investor to invest in a commercial market? Are there different type of insiders more going into a mall and buying their commercial space, or going more into the residential buildings and buying their commercial stuff? So which type of investment strategies you can advise people?
So first, you need to explain the people when they come here that they cannot just buy whatever they want. There's lots of things that are not for sale. If you make it easy, all the malls are one owner. It's not like you buy a shop in the mall. The mall is owned by someone, usually the big developers. They never sell because they want to control what's in the mall. In terms of retail, it's usually same. The bottom of the ground floor of the building will be sold to one investor. Then you don't compromise the quality of the tenants. Because when you see, for example, if you go to JVC, they would have sold 5 retails to 5 different people. Those guys, they just want to make money. So they don't really care about who is there and what's affecting the building or not. And you would have 5 supermarkets or 5 laundry or 5 car rental, which doesn't benefit the building.
Yes.
So that's what they call the mix. So the good developers, they will sell to one guy, or they will keep it for themselves, because then they give upper hand to the building in terms of the quality of the retail downstairs. So first is, obviously, the retail market is pretty much not for sale. Offices, you can buy a lot of them, but there is still a lot of towers that are under one title deed. So, if you drive on Sheikh Zayed Road, all these tall tower with offices,
Yes,
it's all one owner for each. So one owner has the full tower, which is something interesting for the people in Europe.
wow.
And most of them are individual people, not like companies. You would have an insurance company buying a building because they need to recover the tax. Here, they just have one building for themselves. This is like family legacy. This is the retirement plan. You make millions every month and you keep it going like this. So for investors, it's more about what they need. Most of the people that we see these days, they buy for themselves. The rental market goes up. They're like, okay, instead of giving the money to someone else and tomorrow is even more, they will stop the bleeding. They'll say, okay, let's buy something, control the rent, and then the business goes on. Especially for us in the real estate market, most of the companies, they have increased 20% more every year. But okay, their revenue goes up, but still it's a very high cost for the company in terms of the offices.
Very interesting. So coming back now, for example, I'm an investor moving to Dubai. Let's say I have $2 million liquid or $4 million liquid. How you say it? There are many developers like Shoba, MR, Creek Harbor, Heartland 1, Heartland 2. They're not giving their retail spaces. They're saying we want to control it, how you say it. They don't want that 5 supermarkets, 5 pharmacies are inside. And JVC, we are seeing it many times as well in Arjan, that there is no control about the commercial space. But if investors coming now and saying, look, Pierre, I have $2 to $4 million. I want to invest it. What you would recommend me? Would you either go into the residential sector or would you either go into the commercial sector? What is the difference between the commercial and residential sector? So what is the easiest way for an investor to enter the Dubai market?
So usually when you have investors coming to Dubai and asking for commercial, they already have residential. So the beginner investor in real estate, he always goes for residential, buy a studio, 1 bedroom, and then grow like this. The more experienced people, they will go for commercial for 2 reasons. First, the ticket price is higher. So the return on investment is higher and you have the capability of putting every cost of the property to the tenant. When you rent an apartment, you still pay the service charge after.
Yes.
So you need to calculate what you're going to make after you pay all the bills. In the commercial, you can put on top of the rent the service charges. So somehow the revenue you generate is net compared to gross for the residential. The maintenance is also on the tenant. So if you rent Shell & Core and they do the fit out, it's like all the design inside, then because they do it, they are responsible for it. Otherwise, you can also say to the tenant, I'm giving it to you and whatever falls from the ceiling, leak, whatever, it's your cost. So it's also a burden away from the owner. So it's like long-term plan. Usually you put a tenant there and it never changes because companies stay there. They have an address. It's part of their business. And it will be long-term tenants as well. So you can do minimum 1 year up to 10, 15 years, depends what you want. And you can increase it the way you want. So you don't have to follow the index. If you have a long-term tenant, you can say, okay, every year we increase 20%. If you write it, it's okay. If you do a 1 year on renewal, then you go and follow with the index system that we know for the residential.
Amazing. So exactly there I wanted to go. What is the difference if I buy commercial and residential and renting it out to the tenant? Are the laws same like in the Ejari? You have 3 months before you have to announce to the tenant to move out. When you have to announce that you have to get moved out, how the regulation looks like in the commercial sector.
So obviously you cannot rent to everyone. You know, they have different licenses in Dubai. So based on the geographic location of the office, for example, you can only rent to a specific license. So if you buy in Jumeirah Lake Towers, you have only tenant from DMCC licensing. If you buy in DFC, you can only have DFC licensing. So this is important to know which tenant you want to attract. So don't buy in the mainland and expect to have a DFC tenant. It doesn't work like this. So that's one point. Then once this is done, you do the same Ejari contract. Ejari will be registered based on how long the contract is. So you still do the 2 or 3 pages blue, but you can do 10 years contract. And then the addendum will be attached to it. In terms of the clauses, obviously, if it's a long-term tenant with no breaking clause, then the tenant is stuck to the rent for as long as you want. Same for the owner, but you still have the possibility to send the 12 months notice for vacancy based on the same reason than the residential. Either you need an office for yourself or you want to sell it vacant. That are the same. And for increasing the rent, same as the residential, 90 days before, send an email. Okay, Mr. Tenant, based on the index, this is the new rent. It's quite straightforward.
Wow.